Zelda fans, I'm Elu from KnightsOfHyrule.org, and this is Kooloo, Limpah, the Knights of Hyrule mailbag where I talk about Zelda and all of his Triforce glory. Today's first question comes from SNES Man 91, who asks, do you think Link should return with brown hair and brown sleeves that he used to have in the first two Zelda games for a 3D Zelda game? Well sure, why not? I like brown-haired Link. Personally, I like dark-haired guys anyway. Understand that by the time Ocarina of Time came out, they went with blonde to give him more of an innocent look. Pure-hearted protagonists in things like games and manga usually have blonde hair, sort of like how villains usually have red or black hair. But it kind of seems like they're already on their way back to a brown-haired Link. In both Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, Link's hair is a little bit brown. Maybe a dirty blonde, but certainly not as blonde as it used to be. I think it's maybe a way of slowly phasing him back into having brown hair. While I really do like the look of blonde-haired Link, I think it's more suitable for him when he's in his child roles. In his more mature roles as an older teenager / young adult, I think brown hair suits him. So yes, I would like to see him with brown hair. Brown sleeves? Definitely. I think if they ever go toward a more realistic style, then probably brown sleeves would look right with the tunic. I think the style they give him really comes down to how he's going to fit into the game. Hazelwool says, Zelda has been around for a quarter of a century now. Do you think it will survive another 25 years or will it eventually fade away? Well, as a Zelda fan, I'm inclined to say it's going to be around forever because it's amazing. But then you have to look at it from the eyes of the consumer and think, is it going to be around? Now that games are becoming more and more popular and seen as an everyday thing in almost everybody's household and almost everybody plays games on some level, then it's likely that Zelda will stick around. I'm not sure if it'll be the same as it is now. Zelda has really changed a lot over the years, and it's going to change a lot more. 25 years from now, it's probably going to be way, way different. Zelda has remained popular mainly due to the core gamers. It is very good at reeling in new fans, but at the same time, there are more and more games coming out that are very similar to Zelda, so 25 years from now, it could very well get lost in the mix. This is where you have to remember that Nintendo is very unique and creative, and while I think the Zelda series will change over the years in order to stay relevant, it's going to change for the better. Triangle Trinity says, I think it would be amazing if there's an upgrade system like in Secret of Mana. Like you have, say, 8 main weapons and then you can upgrade them a bunch of times or forge them. And even with the system, maybe there could also be side items that Link still uses. It just sounds like fun. What do you think? The Secret of Mana is one of my all-time favorite games, mainly because it does feel so much like a Zelda game with a little bit of Final Fantasy mixed in. I think we're already on our way to an upgrade system now that we have Skyward Sword. I'm not so sure it'll turn into something like Elder Scrolls. I think if we have one set of items that we can constantly upgrade and not too many options that would overwhelm us, then I think something like that could really, really work out. Secret of Mana is like Zelda, and the way they use the items is already much like Zelda's, so it wouldn't be that hard to incorporate such a system. Of course, it wouldn't be exactly the same. Secret of Mana is a very, very old game, and the style it's in is a very, very old Zelda style. So of course, games have come a long way since then. But as far as upgrading main items go, I think it's definitely going to happen. I think it's going to stick around because we saw a little bit of it in Skyward Sword, and I think that forging is going to become an option sooner or later. The Sage Medora says, if Zelda Wii uses Wii Motion Plus, do you think it will be any different from Skyward Sword? If it uses a normal controller, what do you think the controls will be like? If it does use Wii Motion Plus, then I do think it will be a lot like Skyward Sword. I am hoping for one-to-one shield controls though. While the movement with the sword in Skyward Sword felt really good and natural, it didn't feel free enough. Without one-to-one shield controls, you might as well just stick the shield on top of your face like Midna and just jerk yourself around like a human meat shield. But to be able to use real combat techniques, swinging your sword when you want and blocking when necessary, that's what I think Zelda could really use. But then what if it doesn't use Wii Motion Plus? Personally, that's where I kind of want it to go. Not that I don't like Wii Motion Plus, but I really, really like using a regular controller. And I think what they had going for them in the Wind Waker was just almost perfect. Just a little bit more tightening of the controls, adding in a few more techniques. I think that's what they could really improve upon in the next Zelda, possibly Zelda Wii U if it does use a regular controller. And then Ferdy says, what is one thing you love and one thing you hate about Skyward Sword? I'm going to cheat here and name 2 for each. 1, I love the relationship between Link and Zelda. It wasn't a heavy romantic relationship where the game completely focused on a torn love. It was a close friendship, where you could see they like each other, but they're not going to, mess around too much with that. It's very similar to Tinkerbell and Terrence. It was nice to see real character development and interaction and something that really, really moved me. Additionally, there was a growing attachment between Link and Fi, and at the end of Skyward Sword, when she's kind of developed a personality of sorts, kind of just don't want to let her go. She's become your partner, and I really haven't had a game where I've really cared that much about my partner. Now whenever I play a Zelda game and I get the Master Sword, it rings in my head that, hey, this is Fi here, I know this person, I love this sword is my partner. So being able to have amazing character interaction that lasts outside of this specific game and resonates in other games, that's kind of incredible, and that's not something you find in a lot of games at all. Something I hate though, again, is with storytelling, because there's a lot of things that just don't make sense. Like for one, Hylia dies and she reincarnates as a mortal, and yet all these people are still worshipping her. You'd think that at some point Zelda would be like, hey guys, I'm sorry to break it to you, but I'm the reincarnation of Hylia. She kind of died, she's no longer around, so you really shouldn't worship her anymore because she's not really going to help you. But on the other hand, maybe she does, because in the other Zelda games, there's no mention of Hylia. Nobody worships her, they only worship the 3 goddesses. So eventually they had to find out, right? And then there's the people like Impa, who, she sits there, you know, waiting for Zelda for years and years and years. And all this time, all that technology that we can assume is Sheikah technology kind of disappears over that time. And you'd think like she'd be in contact with maybe her other people saying, hey, you know what, this amazing technology is being lost to us all, but nobody cares? What? And then back to something we like, we have characters like Girahim, who are really fleshed out. There's a big twist at the end where we find out he's kind of pretty much the same thing as Fi, which is like, whoa! And then back to something we hate, you know, we get the Triforce. We get the Triforce! And we get this amazing wish, and we squash Demise, and he's done. And I'm like, yay! But then they kind of ruin it by making Girahim go back in time and, you know, kind of pretty much undo what you just did. So, you know, again, this has been something that Nintendo has been shoving at gamers for a quarter of a century, and pretty much building up this lore about the Triforce, and you finally get it, and you don't get any sort of strength upgrades, you don't get to have any sort of special powers, you only get one wish, and of course you get that one wish, but that one wish is trumped by, you know, this villain, and it kind of just like took all that amazingness away from us. It just took it away. It was like, oh, here you go, here, you can have the Triforce, and not. So I kind of didn't like that. I was not happy about that, and now I don't even want to get the Triforce anymore. I'm done. Okay, Zelda fans, that is it for this week. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and get lots of presents and give lots of presents, because that's the best part, is making somebody happy. So remember to follow on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and all that good stuff. If you have a Wii U, follow me there as well, and leave your comments and questions in the section below, and I will see you next week. Bye!
Bye!